gentlemen, if you're dealing with a girl who will not deal with you unless you take her to dinner, take her on trips, buy her things, give her things, just leave her alone. Move on beyond that person. Because you are dealing with a person who does not have your best interests at mind. They are looking only for one thing, and that is what they can get out of the situation. See, if you're with somebody who truly desires you, truly wants you, and wants to be with you, they will be with you, and they will not have requirements on that. Think about this. Let's say you are out and about and you are, at a venue, you're in a special event or you're in an activity, and you meet another person. Let's just say it's another guy, and you guys start talking, find out you have a lot in common, and that kind of stuff. And you propose the idea, hey, let's go grab a beer, or let's go do an activity. And they say, well, wait a minute, but are you going to buy me something? You look at them and say, what are you talking about? I thought we were vibing. I thought we were having a good time. And they say, yeah, we are, but I'm not gonna do something with you unless you're buying me dinner, or you buy me a drink. Who kind of person do you take me for? Now I want you to think about the disgust that you would feel at that moment. There's two things that would happen. First of all, there should be some rightful disgust and anger. Meaning, who do you think you are? Demanding that I buy you something so we can spend time together? To me, that comes across as exceptionally conceited, rude, and honestly, very selfish, if you really think about it. In other words, hey, I'm not going to hang out with you unless you buy me something. I'm not going to give you my time, energy, or we're not going to be able to have a good time unless you're buying me objects. And then secondly, what does that say about their value on you as a person? I mean, think about this. What does that mean? Does it mean they're essentially saying, hey, I don't see value in giving you my energy and attention, so you need to throw something more in the game in order to stay in this game, right? In order to continue to be with me, you need to essentially pay me for my time. Now, I'm going to ask you, what kind of person would be like that? Does that sound like somebody you want or could build a relationship with, or a friendship? The answer is no. You cannot build a true friendship with a person like that who is demanding that you pay to play. But yet, gentlemen, this is exactly what many women have been told that they must do, that must happen to interact with you. They have been, and a lot of this is not really necessarily coming from them, but it's coming from the brainwashing. They've been told that, hey, unless a guy's putting out money and paying for things, then he doesn't have a right to access them physically or emotionally or anything else. You'll often hear a woman say something like, well, you gonna buy me dinner first? Or these kinds of things. Just leave these women alone. Just move along, move past them, because those people do not have your best interests at heart. Think about this, guys. These are people who, unless you are providing entertainment for them, they will not spend time with you. To me, that's one of the most offensive things you could say to another human being is, hey, I'm not going to spend time with you unless you're buying something. But I also want you to think about this from another implication when it comes specifically to the sexual marketplace and to dating. Think about this. What do we call a relationship with what do we call somebody who exchanges their love, their affection, and their time in exchange for money? We call those prostitutes or escorts. And here's the deal, guys. You don't want to be involved with a relationship in which you are paying for interactions, because that is prostitution. And you may have different views on prostitution, this kind of stuff, but personally, the way I live my life is, I don't want to pay for the affections of another person. Why should I? When I can get affection from people without pain, when I can experience real, true, meaningful connections in my life. And you're never going to experience a true, meaningful connection when you're dealing with somebody who demands that you pay for that experience. You know, when you go to a strip club, you are paying money for a stripper to pretend like she's interested, right? How can you have a healthy relationship with somebody like that? You can never. That's not a real relationship. The best relationships are when two people come to the table and just want to spend time with each other just for the sake of spending time together. You can see this a lot of times. You can see this in on children's playgrounds. If you remember in elementary school, primary school, younger ages, when you're out playing on the playground, you never had a girl say, "Well, you got to buy me dinner before we can before we kiss." No, kids naturally explore. They have fun with each other. They enjoy their experience together. These little kids, they run around the corner, they kiss each other. This is how children interact, because they haven't been brainwashed with this idea yet that somehow that they need to sell their bodies or their time or energy. And those are some of the most purest, most beautiful friendships and interactions between humans. But as we've gotten older, this idea that men are expected to pay to play has been pushed as a narrative deep within our subconscious as we get older. And honestly, it's become a point of frustration and consternation by many people in our culture today. Many women are confused by this, and they have been told, well, girl, if he's not taking you to dinner, if he's not doing these things, he doesn't care for you. But that's actually further from the truth. Think about it, ladies. Does a man care for a prostitute? Does a man love a prostitute? Can there be real love between a man and a prostitute? And the answer is no. And the reason why that is because anytime that there is an exchange of goods and services in exchange for affection, that affection is not real. The only affection that can exist is when it's free, when it's given voluntarily because of true desire. And this is such an important concept for us to wrap our heads around. And especially when you understand the idea of that, this whole idea of paying to play, that men are expected to pay money for the affections of women, that concept itself comes from a bygone era. This isn't the 1950s anymore. Women can and often do earn more money than the men in their lives. And the idea that a man somehow should be paying to show that he is interested in a woman is not only just a vulgar concept in general and offensive to us guys, but it's also antiquated. Look, men in before the women's liberation movement, before feminism, men held all the cards when it came to finances. And a man paying for taking a girl on dates and doing these kinds of things, that was meant to show, hey, I've got provisions, I can take care of you if we get into a relationship. Because guess what? That's how society was set up. Women didn't really have any money. So if they were going to go out, it was man's responsibility to cover those expenses as a means of showing that he has the necessary resources to take care of her and the family. Well, now it's 2021, ladies. Now you have all the same opportunities to earn and to have money as well. So expecting a man to just constantly be footing the bill, taking you out, impressing you, has no bearing in today's world when you look at how life is. Oftentimes you're making more money than men. Oftentimes you have an easier time making more money. And to require a man to show you, to take you on a date, does absolutely nothing, because guess what? It's 2021. The idea that you can't care for yourself is an outdated concept. But see, this gets to the heart of the problem. Many women today want a traditional man and a traditional relationship. But the problem is they don't want to be traditional girls. They don't want to be a traditional woman, right? They want to make all the money. They want to make all this. They want to have all their freedom and all this kind of stuff. But they don't want. But they want the man to continue living in a pre-1950s lifestyle. And ladies, it just doesn't work that way. Us men are tired of dealing with situations where women are only using us for our financial resources and our financial opportunity. And if not just financially, it's energy, and even something that's even worth more money, which is our time investment. See, women have to understand something that men deal with uniquely that they don't have to deal with. It's called time wasting. See, for women in general in today's society, things are a lot easier. They just basically set up dates. They go out, the guy foots the bill, does all these things, and all this kind of stuff, and then they leave and they do their own thing. But see, the problem with this is that this approach is that these men who are doing this, they're having to do this multiple times a month, multiple times a week in some cases. And they're spending all their time, they're spending all their energy, they're spending all their money on investments that go absolutely nowhere. So what men are saying now is they're saying, look, I'm not down with this. I'm not interested in purchasing your affection. I'm not interested in convincing you to want to be with me, right? If you want to hang up, that's fine. But I'm not interested in making all these investments unless I know that there is going to be that the investment is worth making. Especially the higher value a man becomes as he gets more valuable, he gets older and wiser, he understands the idea of making smart investments in the things he's making investments in. Think about this, ladies. Would you spend your hard-earned money, your hard-earned time and energy and resources on an investment that has no guarantees? Imagine if I came to you and I wanted to sell you an insurance platform, health insurance or life insurance, but it had no guarantees. There's no guarantees. There's nothing I can show you that will show you the value of it. There's none of that. No guarantees. I'm asking you just to put forward your money with nothing in return guaranteed. Would you make that investment? And the answer is no. You won't make that investment. You don't want to make that investment for obvious reasons, because you don't want to invest in something that has absolutely no guarantee of return. So this is why many of us modern high-value men are saying enough is enough. We want to see if you really care about us for us, if you really desire us for us. And then if we see that there is actually some return on investment that can be made, then we might start investing. But here is the most important part. This can never be an expectation. You can never expect this from another person. You never should expect these things from another person. The days of saying, hey, you need to take me to dinner first. The days of saying, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that for me to show you my affection. Those days should have never been there in the first place, but those days are definitely long gone, ladies. Now guys want to see, what am I investing in? Where's the returns for my investment, right? So this means that I'm not going to pay for the chance to have sex with you. No, it's the other way around. If we vibe well, we have a good time, and you come to me for me as a person, you see me for who I am, and that attraction is there, and we have that connection, then the guys are willing to make the investment, right? But once again, it can never come out of a place of this is owed to you. And if you ever approach high-value men like this, this is why they don't want to deal with you. This is why women are complaining now. Why aren't men taking me on dates? Why aren't men doing these things? It's because, ladies, guys want to be looked at as more than just a human doing. We want to be looked at as a human being. We want to be dealing with people who genuinely desire us for us, not for what we bring to the table financially, not what we bring to the table for our time. If we want a prostitute, ladies, we'll just go get a prostitute. We're not coming to you for this. And now the worst part about all this is men are going to be labeled as, oh, he's got commitment phobia. He's not serious about the relationship. When all it really is it's actually usually the exact opposite. Actually, the guy is very interested in a relationship. He's very interested in getting more connected to you, but he doesn't want to be used. And until women understand this, we're going to continue to have miscommunication. We're going to continue to have messed up relationships. We're going to continue to have relationships that in a normal and otherwise would be an amazing connection between two people continue to get ruined time after time because women are expecting men to pay for their affection. Ladies, stop acting like you're a prostitute. You're not a prostitute. Men only want to deal with women who have high levels of attraction to them, who want to be with them for them. Think about it, ladies. Do you want to be with somebody, and the only reason they want to be with you is because you're paying for their time? You're paying for their time. How would that make you feel? That's not what we want. What we want is contrary to popular belief, what all of us want is meaningful, genuine relationships. And the only way that's going to happen is for people to stop this nonsense of pay to play. Either you desire this person or you don't. Either you want to be with this person or you don't. If you don't want to be with them, leave them alone, or make sure the business arrangement is set up in advance. You can just say, look, I'm not interested in you in a relationship, but hey, if you want to take me to dinner and if you want to buy me these things, then we can have like a sugar baby type of relationship, right? That can be part of an arrangement. There's nothing wrong with that. That works for some people. But I will tell you, true high value men aren't interested in that. They're not interested in paying for their time, for a time of a woman. Yes, desperate, lonely, needy beta men who don't have any options. They're just hoping for an opportunity to interact with a woman. They will gladly pay for the time with a woman. But high value men have no need for that because high value men are sought after by women. And then it's a high value man's job to look at his available options and choose the woman who wants them for the right reasons. One of the worst things that a high value man that wealthy, successful man can do is settle down with a woman who's only interested in him or his finances. This is why many high value guys, the way they work is that when they're interacting with a woman, as soon as she starts talking about money, as soon as she starts talking about career, job, as soon as she starts asking these questions, trying to prep to see where he's at financially, many rich men will just gone. They'll be gone. They'll disappear because these kinds of questions reveal something very deep about the person you're dealing with, and that is they're not truly interested in you. And I hope that everybody who's watching this will take some notes on it, will consider what they are doing, how they are interacting, and consider the advice that they're getting from other women. Because I know that a lot of women are giving each other this advice. And ladies, it's bad advice. It's a bad way to go. If you want to find a quality man, a quality relationship, you're trying to use him for his money and his opportunity and having to bend over backwards to impress you, it's not going to work, ladies. And all you're going to do is continue to go from guy to guy, be passed around, tossed around, run through, and abused. And if you do find some beta sucker to settle down with you, who is willing to attempt to purchase your affection, you're heading down a bad road, a bad path. This is not the way human interactions were meant to be. Any man who's willing to pay to play isn't deserving of love or respect. And you'll never truly desire a man who feels like he needs to purchase your love and affection. Because guess what? You and I both know that can't be purchased. This is the ironic thing about all of this. You can't purchase love and affection. Yeah, you can purchase the appearance of a love and affection. You can purchase the illusion of it. What do you think men do when they go to strip clubs or when they purchase these OnlyFans accounts and subscriptions? They are knowingly purchasing the illusion of love and affection because they're desperate, needy, and weak men. But high-value men who value themselves and see themselves for who they are will never want to buy affection. And I know this advice is going to be shocking to many women out there who are stuck in this 1950s mindset that if a man loves you or cares about you, he's going to do all these things for you. But ladies, I'm here to tell you, those days have been long gone. And now it's time that if you find a man that you are genuinely attracted to and you genuinely care for and you're genuinely interested in, that you begin to show him that without requirements of payments. And any time that man does something for you, you have to understand those things he does for you are out of the kindness of his heart, not because he expects anything in return. And so then you can take the opportunity to show gratitude and thankfulness. But so many women come to the table in these relationships with their hands out, and they expect that the man is going to pay. The man's going to take them on dates. He's going to take them on trips. They expect that the man is going to do all these things. And this is where the problem is. Instead, what needs to happen is women, when they get things from men, they receive gifts from men, that they show gratitude. Because they start with the assumption of, I don't deserve this. And this is part of the self-entitlement problem that we have in our society today. Women have been told their entire lives that they deserve to have these things given to them. They deserve to have a man break out his wallet. They deserve to have a man's attention and time. They deserve all this stuff. And so when they come to the table, they come with their hands out saying, how can you provide for me? Unless you take me on a date, we're not going to get physical. Unless you take me to a restaurant, you take me to coffee, you take me to these places, or you do these things for me, we're not getting physical. And I'm here to tell you, ladies, it's one of the most offensive things that you can say to a man who respects himself. Because as a high-value man, as a man who's growing to becoming more high-value, I see myself as more valuable than that. And anybody who's going to tell me I'm only going to hang out with you or share my love and affection with you if you pay for it, it's one of the most offensive things you can say. And I know many of you ladies are not intentionally trying to offend these men you're interacting with. I know that if you're hearing this, you would think to yourself, oh, I never really thought about that. I would never want to come across that way. Well, now is the time to change. Now is the time to go ahead and say, okay, let me correct these attitudes I've had, these preconceptions about what it means for a man to love me and care for me. Maybe I'm not entitled to have him text me good morning and good night every night. Maybe I'm not entitled to have meals provided or coffees, or maybe I'm not entitled to have massage. Maybe all of these things that I do get from this man are because he genuinely cares for me. And until we as a society move beyond this, move beyond the situation that we've created, I don't know how we're going to have successful relationships, because everything will just be pay to play. I hope you got a lot of this video. I think that we've got a lot to learn and grow as a society as we're growing, as feminism is taking hold and equal rights are taking hold in our society. I think all of these are important discussions to have. But I think one of the big takeaways for me is recognizing that if you really think about what we've done in the dating market, what we've done as humans is we've essentially reduced all women to prostitutes. And that is the biggest travesty, I feel like, in our society as a species, that we are trying to move away from. But it's so ingrained within us that a man is supposed to provide financially over the last several thousand years that we forget that for most of human history, it wasn't that way. Most of human history, societies live in egalitarian style societies where men and women were equals. And there was literally no money, so they would live in small tribes. Our earlier ancestors would live in small tribes, and they just basically worked together to make everything happen. So there was women leaders, there was male leaders, there were people to interact in all kinds of different ways. And so this idea that men are required to pay financially wasn't even a thing for the first 200,000 years of human history. It wasn't until we started having money and having property and these kinds of things that now those things started entering the equation. And there's good reason why men were seen as provisionary, because guess what? Men had to go out and hunt, they had to go out and protect, they had to do all these things. So you can see how that slowly unfolded. But where we've gotten today is in the last 1,000 years, to me, is perverted. We've reduced women to prostitutes. And it continues to this day, and many what could be amazing relationships are completely ruined and devastated because of these really horrible motifs and preconceived notions, where women mistake the men who pay as caring, and they mistakenly dismiss the men who don't pay as not caring. And actually, it's the reverse way around. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk at you later. Thanks.